Yay! Welcome back to the family channel, and we're so glad to have you here today. Today we are going straight into pork business. Yes, we're coming to do pork grill and the pork stew addition. I promised you this video was going to be 2-in-1. So this is a quick fix pork stew you can do, Charlie, within 5-10 minutes. Now it's stew, no, I've been ready to eat. So it's a quick fix stew at the end. I hope you wait and try it out. But we're going to look at pork grill. Yes, you can boil your pork, you can steam your pork, you can braise your pork, you can boil your pork, you can roast your pork. But then for me, one option I love the most is to grill my pork. Why do I like to grill my pork? 3 reasons. First and foremost, when I grill my pork, I'm not going to use any oil. Secondly, all the stock, the spice, everything goes in, nothing goes out of it, nothing goes as residue. Because when you boil your pork, you realize you're going to end up pouring the stock away or disposing it off. If you fry your pork, you're going to introduce in more oil. But when you grill the pork, you're using its natural fat in there, which is healthy because they are more cholesterol free. So even though it's fatty, it's healthy fat. So I like to grill my pork because of the taste, because of the texture, because everything goes in. So when you eat the meat, you feel like I'm eating meat. So let's go into this video and let's see how to grill your pork the right way. Yep, today we're going to be grilling pork, and it's going to be as simple as ABCD. So to kick off our pork grill, we're going to look at our ingredients, and we need some Anise seeds, or we call star seeds. You need some hwentia, some salt, then some turmeric powder, some powdered pepper, some onion, some ginger, some garlic, some pepper, some bay leaves, some cloves, black pepper, African calabash. We need some apple cider to help us with the cleansing. So to start off, we're going to the bay leaves and the powdered pepper, turmeric, salt. They are all going to go straight into our grill pan because we're going to use those ones to steam the pork. But then our dried ingredients, the dried local spices, we're going to crush it, mill it together with the fresh vegetables. So it's a bit tough, so sometimes you may have to pound it a bit. So if you have a mortar, you can use it to crush it nicely, or you can mill it in your blender. So once that is done with, you don't really need it to be too fine, don't worry. You can continue by adding in your ginger and your garlic. Then you grind that also in, and then you add in your pepper. And then you also grind that in beautifully, and then you add in your onion to it. So once that is done, what you need to do is to move to our pork. So what I did was I cut it nicely into the sizes I wanted. I don't want it too big, not too small. So cut it nicely. Then after cutting it, what you'd want to do is to wash it. So fortunately, pork is not so bloody like cow meat. So I poured a bit of water around it, and I have another bowl with water. So I'm going to add in the apple cider to the second bowl. So I wash it in the first bowl, then I wash it again with the apple cider. Then it goes into my grill pan. Then I added water to the turmeric, bay leaves, and salt in the pan. Please be careful not to use too much water because pork meat is not as hard as cow or goat, so it doesn't take too long to cook. So if you use too much water, your meat may overcook and become too soft, unless you want it very soft. So you wash it nicely in your apple cider solution. You can even use normal water with some salt to just wash it. Then when you are done, you're going to add in the grind spices. So what happened was I split it. You see, there were part of the pork meat that had the bones in, and I like to use the bones for soup, so my pan is a bit smaller, so I just separated the bones from the bones. You get the broth, which is good for us. Then I added enough water to the bones to help it cook nicely. Then I added the grinded ingredients, or the spices, the grinded spices. Yes, I added it to the pork in the grill pan. At this stage, just let it boil, come to a boil nicely. So when you realize one side is cooking, you need to be turning it so that each part of it would cook nicely. You can decide to cover it or just leave it. So you just need it to cook for quite a while. At this stage, there's less work, so you can relax and then do something else. Maybe if you want to do chips with it, you can relax and then catch your chips. By the time you are through with it, your pork would also be cooking nicely. So you just want to be sure to be turning it for both sides to cook nicely. And you realize as it's cooking, the stock around it is going to thicken, it's going to decrease. And that's why I like the grill method, because by the time you're done, everything goes back into the pork. So you get it more, you get a very rich and fine taste in there. So the stock will be decreasing as it's cooking. That's why you need to be careful the amount of water you use. If you use too much water, it's going to take a very long time for all the water to go away, the stock to go into the meat. What that means is you're going to get very soft pork meat. So if you don't want it very soft, please check your water you use. Yes, so you'd be turning it, especially when the stock is it's running out of it. It's just being, should I say, hydrated from it? Yes. It is also pork cheaper. That's when you should be turning it very often. See, you just be stirring. You be stirring it, and you realize that all the stock around it would literally be vanishing. It will be going into the pork meat itself. And because there's pork fats, pork has its own oil under the skin. You don't really need to add any oil to this process. There's no need for oil. With time, as you're stirring, everything is going to go into the meat. And if you do it very well over a long period of time, the skin, the oils under the skin, the heat will melt it and it will start coming down. Or if your pork is very fatty, as you're doing it, you realize that the oils will be coming into the pan. So the pork grill at this stage is literally done. But you just want it to brown a bit. That's if you want it brown. So you realize that everything is in there. You've retained everything. And there's no oil, additional oil in there. But then if you want to do pork oil, there will be a special recipe for that. How to drain your pork oil, which is healthier. And that's about your pork grill, which is good for your chips, yam chips, potato chips, and it's great and a simple dish to do. So this is what I call the quick fix pork stew. Yes, 5 minutes quick fix pork stew. So all you need is your gravy, which we've already taught in Abba's kitchen. Then you need some vegetables, carrots, green pepper, green beans, onions, whatever you have, whatever vegetables you want to use. Then of course your pork grill. So you just start off by pouring in your gravy in your pan. I told you your gravy is meant to be a bit thick. Yes, so those are stew. So you want to lighten it with a bit of water. So you do it in bits so it doesn't get too runny in the end. So once that is nicely done, I'm just going to pour in my pork grill to it. My pork grill. So when the pork grill goes in, what you'd want to do is to allow it simmer in for a while so that the stew would equally balance with the pork. So when you eat it, it's going to be like pork has just been dipped in the stew. You want it to marinate nicely in there. So you let it simmer for a while to get the stew and the pork to assemble nicely. You can cover it up for the heat to go in and then get everything nicely done. Then you just add in your vegetables to it, and yes, you mix it so that everything assembles beautifully. You'd realize I didn't add in any salt because the pork grill already has its salt, everything in there. Then the vegetables, yes, because of the stew already has salt in there. But if you want to add in something extra, it's up to you. You're free to do so. Yes, and I think one thing I forgot to mention with the pork grill was that when you are grilling your pork, because you're not going to drain the stock from it, you should be careful not to add too much salt, because if the salt is too much, your pork grills will come out very salty. And this is our quick fix pork stew, which is ready for your rice, for anything you want to add to it. So I was so glad you were able to watch this video. I hope you did learn how to grill your pork, and I hope you'd give it a try. And most importantly, your quick fix pork stew. Charlie, when you're done just grilling it, package some in the fridge as a grill, and then do some for your stew. And I'm going to give you a special recipe in our next food video, which is pork soup. So we're going to use our pork grill to do some special pork soup. And my guy, when you eat this one, you will lick your fingers literally. So till I see you in the next food video, live life to the fullest. Make sure you let every food moment count, and join us. Make it count. Lots of love for my team and I. Mwah.